Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, wherever you are on this bastard planet. Now, everybody, well, a lot of people know now what has happened to AKA Sargon of Akkad, Mr. Carl Benjamin, and what's done is done. He's off the platform. And this gives everybody an opportunity to really step back and ask themselves, my hands, my living is literally in the hands of on people on the left. Now, I've read through this little the transcript that they've now decided to bring forward, even though the video is there, people can go and hunt it down. But they themselves decided they had to bring this out in order to say, look, this shows you what a hateful person Mr. Benjamin is. And we had to remove him from the panel, which, quite frankly, they should not have done. But this is fine. It's not a problem. Because what this does, you as a person could, in the future, say something very small by mistake and you're off the platform. So it's not just about what he said and the context of his said or how harsh it was. The point is should be due process. You can't just go around dropping people from a platform. But this is the way people are behaving today. I know a person in a situation who's got a problem with their flat with the council. And the council representatives came round. It's to cut long story short. And on that day, they came round within an hour of speaking to them. They told them they had to leave the property. No warnings. No, we're going to give you a warning and, this is it. No, it was that day they came into this property and they stated you've got 30 days to leave your property. So now there is a policy of so-called zero tolerance of people. And the working class person, the ordinary person, or just the ordinary person, let's not put classes, just the ordinary person who's just going about their business, they haven't caused any problem. This guy has not been a criminal. He's not owed any money. He's not making any money from the flat, etc., etc. That's it. The rules are set. People have got to understand that the days of give and take, at least give a person one or two chances, are going to be over. And we're going to move more and more and more, literally, into the field of 1984. And you probably be given chances if you are of a particular persuasion. You're an SJW, you're on the left, you're a person who is in the left. If you're not, you're outside of that sphere, therefore you will be treated badly. Which is, so we're going to have communism. It's crept into the West, into this society. It's very, very dangerous. We've got to get back to the middle ground, the libertarian middle ground. Not everything in socialism is hugely bad. The idea of looking after people is good, helping people is good, but it seems to come with a lot of baggage, a lot of controls, massive amounts of control, in order to keep people in line to the doctrine. Same thing. It's the same thing with feminism. It's a hugely, and it wants to control the society that we're in. Everything's about control. And this is about control. we are not going to have you on our platform, and we will remove you straight away. And that's what they've done. So what people need to do is look at this and say, okay, fine, this is what's happened. The milk has been spilt. There's no point in crying over it. What can we now do to try and reduce this kind of nonsense in the future? Now, the guys from the intellectual dark web are looking at this problem. And obviously Mr. Jordan Peterson has said he's been working on this for quite a few months now. And he's obviously, he's spoken to Dave Rubin about it. That's great. Because every system that seems to have been brought out, they've tried to destroy. Gab, BitChute, Minds. These are all competitors to YouTube, to Twitter, to Facebook. I mean, that twat, that fucking Sawyer boy twat, Mr. Conte, made it very clear that he knows these people, these top guys that he speaks to in Silicon Valley. They all chit-chat together. They all speak. Which is not surprising. We shouldn't be surprised. Of course they are. Because when Steve Jobs and Bill Gates had a discussion in front of an audience, there was a lot of people who said, well, what's going on? Hold on a minute. These two are enemies. Why are they talking to each other? They weren't. They were never enemies. I think Bill Gates gave Jobs, I think, 500 million. Or he gave him a lot of money to help him out. Because he could see that this guy, they were friends. They were never enemies. And if they did have any issues or tussles, they had been able to sort it out. Because they were, friends. So we must, conservatives need to now realise you are under attack for your views. Okay. There are loonies on both sides of the political, from the far left, the alt-left, to the far right, the alt-right. And even in the middle, to a degree, those people who class themselves as libertarians. Carl Benjamin, and we'll go through the speech, the transcript, was having an argument a discussion with the alt-right, or members of the alt-right, I believe. And this was 10 months ago. And I've gone through this and I've said, okay, there are one or two things that would be a good idea to sit round, a coffee and some cheese and biscuits and, to sort through. But to deplatform him, to remove him from the platform, when it was with a discussion with people that he was having a discussion with at that time on another platform, a warning should have been issued. At the very, that's about as maximum as it should have been. A warning. But the point is, everybody who has a Patreon account, everybody who has a PayPal account, everybody who has a Stripe account, who is on YouTube or uses YouTube or uses any other platform to get out speech and what they talk about, you need to be worried. Forget about the moral aspects of all this. You need to seriously look, and people from the intellectual dark web need to come up with a solution or solutions to counter these arseholes in Silicon Valley. Because what they want to do, they want to destroy you dead, to remove any form of you making any living, making money, and to continue to talk about your subjects, the things that you enjoy talking about. They don't want the Conservatives, to have any voice whatsoever. They want a communist system. They believe that they can make communism work. But wherever communism has existed around the world, it has failed. Russia now has a dictatorship, a pseudo democracy. Putin has been in charge since he got into office. He so-called relinquished it for a period of time, but he was behind the scenes still controlling and dictating what was being said. So communism isn't a good thing. Capitalism is the best that we have at the moment. But all these left-leaning wankers in Silicon Valley want to somehow morph, especially in America, morph the America into a communist country. That's wrong. Very, very wrong. So, but to get back to this issue with the Sargon, the saga with Mr. Sargon, it shouldn't be seen as a negative. It should actually be seen as a positive, because it's kicked a few of the content creators up their arses to try and think of solutions, because this can't go on. You can't be worrying about when you wake up in the morning whether your site is still running, because they decide to drop your site and cancel your site. It's just not on. We need several platforms to compete with YouTube, to compete with Facebook, to compete with Twitter. We need different platforms. There should be at least 4 or 5 different platforms that people can go to. It would be nice if people could try and revive MySpace to be a competitor to Facebook. So let's go through this transcript that the dickhead from Patreon, Mr. Conte, released. Some creators and patrons have questions regarding our removal of Sargon of Akkad for hate speech. We take a strong stance against hate speech and want to make sure everyone has the full context regarding this removal. Before getting into the specifics, I'd like to warn you, this is a trigger warning, it's giving you a trigger warning, that there is some inflammatory language. There you go. Trigger warning. In an interview, he was in a debate with, I think, 2 other people on another creator's YouTube channel. I repeat, on another creator's YouTube channel, Sargon said, now, they've stated that if you are using Patreon on whatever it is, through your website, or sorry, you're using Patreon and then you use the link to put onto Facebook, or you use it to put onto YouTube or Instagram or wherever it is, when people pay through that system, through there, it's because of, that link is on their website. Sorry, the link is on your website. And so it's a gateway to go to Patreon and then for people to make payment and whatever it is. So I can understand what they're saying, but but to really say the point is that he wasn't at the time using Patreon. He was a guest, as it says here. Let's have a look. On someone else's channel. So theoretically, he wasn't actually using Patreon. Yes, money was going into his account because people were putting their cash in there every day, or it's it's coming out of people's account and going into Patreon through PayPal. But he himself was not using his site. He was on somebody else's site, so he should be. I mean, I don't know. It's like him going on to I don't know, ITV and having a debate with somebody, and he came out and used that language. Maybe yes, he could. Would he have been deplatformed then? Because he's not on he wouldn't have been on the internet. He'd be on TV or something like that. I don't know. But the point is, they've used that to say that no matter where you are on the internet, whatever you say basically comes back to Patreon, and we will review it, and then they will do what they've done with him here. So all of you content creators need to be worried. Don't be just sitting back and going, oh, well, at least they haven't got me. Because they could come after you. And then what are you going to do? Whereas you need to see that this as a warning shot, and you need to prepare yourself to be on another platform, on another way of streaming money, getting money to yourself that won't be interfered with, and not to be as reliant on people like Patreon to try and make your living. I wonder how the great Bill O'Reilly is able. I mean, he sells his books. I'm sure he must be selling through Amazon and probably eBay, maybe, or other on his website. Why haven't they taken him down? Because he's classed as sexist. He's classed as, some people say, he's mildly racist, etc., etc. Why hasn't he been pulled down? Why haven't they pulled him down? The problem is that I see is that we need more alternatives. We've got to have more alternatives. You see, that's the reason why, for instance, myself, I've decided to try and I'm starting to use Opera as a browser. And the problem is migrating everything across, your passwords, some of the software that work on Chrome, unfortunately don't work on Opera, or there isn't an app on Opera. So you end up having to come back to Chrome to do certain things. I use Outlook for my emails, where I was using Gmail. Don't use that. There's emails that drop in, but I have a client. The Outlook is my client, and so I do get emails from my old Gmail coming through, and I just look at them or see them, but I don't use them as, I hand out my Outlook email only. I don't use those ones that I used to use before. BitChute is coming along. It's literally only been out, a year, less than a year. And I go on there. I like BitChute, and then Minds. Again, nice system. We need to try and push that as much as we can. Does look like a cell. We need to use those systems as much as they can and get people to, more and more people to go on those systems, in order to, challenge these services, because we've become reliant on, one platform being dominant. So let's have other systems, that can't bully, because this is just bullying. This is bullying. So let's go through this, because what they're basically saying is, oh, this wasn't a political issue. This was definitely a racial and sexuous, issue. He was booted off. It wasn't to do with his political views. Bollocks. He should have been given a warning. He was on an interview off the Patreon platform, plain and simple. But if this is the rules that he's looking to bring in, so be it. We conservatives need to have our own servers, our own platforms that are open to everybody. Okay? Even the feminists, even the SJWs, even those on the far left and the far right should be able to go on these platforms and get on with their business. And if they violate something and they're really, really over, cross the line, then you give them a warning, or you put them into a jail for a period of time. This should have been done with Sargon. He should have been, suspended. Less, to be honest with you, just been given a warning. No more. Don't do this again. Otherwise, you'll be suspended. If you do it again after being suspended, you will be deplatformed, or your account will be closed. That's it. You need to go through due process. If you class yourself as kind people, as good people, give people a chance. Give people, but no, they're not interested in that. They're not interested. So let's go through this again. I keep saying that. I just can't be bothered with people who choose to treat me like this. Sometimes he can come across as a pussy when he's debating other guys, especially from the far right. The far right know how to deal with that Sargon. They really do. They get under his skin. And Richard Spence literally he just, I don't know, Richard Spence just destroyed him. He was destroyed. He was on Korsky, whatever his name. It was on his stream at the time. It was fantastic. It was a great stream, and I'm afraid, as much as I didn't, I was hoping Sargon would be a bit more able to handle Spence, but Spence just had him. Spence, it was like a pseudo wrestling match. A wrestling match. He was down. He was out. He was finished. And Sargon sulked off. He couldn't handle him after a period of time. It's really annoying. You are acting like a bunch of niggers. I'm going to say for context. Just so you know, you act like white niggers. Okay. Exactly how you describe black people acting is the impression I get with dealing with the alt-right. I'm just not in the mood to deal with this kind of disrespect. As I said, you can sometimes sound like a bit of a pussy. That's the bit I'd read up to that point the last few days. Now, this is obviously the other bit that I didn't see until now. And again, it's not shocking. He shouldn't have been deplatformed. He should have been given a warning, if at all. He should have been spoken to, look, we know you had that interview, it was off this platform, and please, in the future, be aware of what you're saying in regards to the, terms and conditions, community guidelines. They should have sent him a link, let him go and have a look at that. Then he could have had a chat with him and said, maybe he would have apologized once it had been pointed. We all make mistakes. We all have to learn from our mistakes. But these people will not allow you to make any mistakes. None whatsoever. None. How many people read their terms and conditions or go to the community guideline when they sign up? No. These are the facts. Some people do. But a lot of people don't. And you always have to give people the benefit of the doubt. You always have to give them a couple of warnings. We all make mistakes. So he goes on. Look, you carry on, but don't expect me to then have a debate with one of your faggots. You know what? I don't think it's the nigger thing that caused the problem. No, I think it was the faggots. That's what pissed them off. Really, that's what pissed them off. It was the faggots. Forget about the race, the nigger issue. It was the faggots. The people who are going to bitch the most are the LGBT, whatever, bleeding WSQ, BB, whatever it is. They're the ones who are going to be pissed the most. They're the ones who are going to be bitching and moaning about it. Like, why would I bother? Maybe you are just acting like a nigger, mate. Have you considered that? Do you think white people act like this? White people are meant to be polite and respectful to one another. And you guys can't even act like white people. It's really amazing to me. So for me, the nigger wasn't a problem for me. The faggots obviously wasn't a problem for me. The only thing that I would like to sit down and have a coffee and some cheese and biscuits is for him to clarify what he meant by, do you think white people act like this? White people are meant to be polite and respectful to one another. And you guys can't even act like white people. So that would be interesting for him to sit there and see how he gets out of that and how he explains that statement. Because that is quite interesting. But to deplatform him? No. Absolutely not. No way. Not even a warning. They should have spoken to him about it. And they should have said to him, we're not happy with this statement. That's fine. Now, there were ways of going around things. Really. Because this is very dangerous. In the workplace, maybe people will not be given chances and will be flung out of the business. I know a friend of mine who was literally being able to hang on to his job by his fingertips. And they've been trying to find. They actually gave him 6 weeks to find another job within the company. 6 weeks. and he didn't mess about. He started emailing places. He started putting it on the forums of the company, and people were reading it. And before the 6 weeks was up, he got another job somewhere else. To be honest with you, the job that he got to wasn't fully suited to him, because it's on another level. But he will persist, and he will learn whatever he needs to learn in order to stay in that department. And if he can't stay in that department, he will find another place to work within the company. But the point is, in the future, that kind of person would just be given their P45, their notice, and out you go. There you go. Goodbye. And escorted out of the building by security. So we all have to be vigilant. What he just said is virtually almost irrelevant. Well, it is relevant, but what I'm saying is we need to see the much bigger picture. You could say something that you would think wasn't offensive, and before you know it, you've been deplatformed. You've lost your account. Let us continue. Some people worry that we are reviewing content not posted on Patreon. As a funding platform, we don't host much content. That is complete bollocks. Of course you do. There's a lot of people that put, if someone they want people to pay to, like for instance Milo, he will do a 2-3 minute segment and say, this is what I'm going to be discussing today, blah 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 blah. If you want to see that, go log on to my Patreon account and register, and then you'll be able to see the full content of the interview. Now, I don't know what he's charged. I think he's charging quite a lot, probably about £15-20 or whatever per month. But where we're charging is irrelevant. Actually, I don't even know if he's still on the platform of Patreon. They might have kicked him off as well. So, yeah, this is a problem. Do you really want to get rid of some of your big players? I mean, he said, Mr. Benjamin said he made about £13,000 a month through Patreon. Probably more. This doesn't make sense. This doesn't make sense. You're going to ruin your business because you decide to. I think he's the case. Mr. Conte needs to eat some humble pie and see that he has done something wrong. He should have given him a warning. I don't care about what he posted or said on another platform. The platform is Patreon. You register through there, and that's it. Finish. It's that's all that matters. Okay, let's continue. We don't host much content, but you do. But we help fund creations across the internet. As a result, we review creations posted on other platforms, which he wasn't posted on his other. He wasn't. He was an interviewer. You know, I mean, if what happens, I don't know. If he'd gone to a university and lost his temper with one of the students because they decided to be a total wanker. What happens if he, said, "Oh, shut up, you wanker," or something that was abusive to them, or "Shut up, you fag," or something like that? Whatever. Got nothing to do with your platform. The thing is, it's just getting way too complicated, and they've got this is, and when I say complicated, some people just want to do their thing that they do best, talk, have a chit chat, okay, and just get on with their life without having to worry about, oh, they must keep quiet about what they're saying, or they mustn't discuss this subject, they mustn't say it in this way. No, you can't allow these bastards on the left to dictate to you how you should speak. We've already got a comedian handed a letter saying, I think he was supposed to a university, and was told, this is what you mustn't talk. This is you mustn't be hateful. It mustn't be hateful speech. It mustn't be racial. It mustn't be sexist. It mustn't be homophobic, etc., etc., etc. And all these things were written out. Why did they ask this guy to come on? Because either he may have said some of these things before. Yet his jokes might be aimed in that direction. They might be racist, mildly racist. They might be mildly sexist. They might be mildly homophobic. Yet I saw this ugly old hag of a feminist, I think Braithwaite her name is or something, where she said, this is a common thing that, the guy was a comedian, and she said this is a common thing. I mean, that people sometimes are asked to sign a form that they won't be, insulted or behavioral, or whatever. What's the point of comedy? Comedy is there to shock you. Comedy is there to be spiteful. That's the whole point of comedy. And if you do not know who the artist is, and you've never been to that person's show before, then it could be a problem. But if people say to you, look, he's a bit of a shock, a shock jock type of thing, then okay, you may not want to go. Fine. If it becomes offensive, get yourself out of your chair, leave, and ask for your money back. That's all you have to do. That's all you have to do. But today we're getting more and more nonsense. I saw a video. I'm sure it must be a hoax. I don't believe it's true. But a young girl, yeah, she's a girl, had knocked her head on the side of a swimming pool, fell into the water, was unconscious for a couple of minutes. A guy dived in, got her out of the water, then started to do I think CPR, and was pressing down on her chest, and she woke up, sees this man pressing down her chest because she obviously had been out, and she then, when she was recovering and said, or whatever, suddenly said, oh, I don't know at the time, but she suddenly said, it was like, how dare you touch me? I didn't give you permission to touch me. I'm going to sue you. So this silly bitch has been saved by a guy when she fell in the water. And now she was I mean, she basically said because he touched her without her permission, he had raped her. So she's obviously looking forward to get into the news, to get her 15 minutes of fame, and she's looking for any spurious way of doing this, which is to, shame a person. And this is, unfortunately, this is the mental nutcases that we have in today's society that we would normally put into the mental institutions. But yeah, I'll continue. As a result, we review content creations posted on other platforms that are funded through Patreon. But that the other person, Sargon, had gone to that so-called interview. He may have been invited to have a discussion with these guys, what he classed were the alt-right. And so how is he, it wasn't through his YouTube channel. It wasn't through the Patreon channel. Sargon is well known for his collaborations with other creators, and so we apply our community guideline to these collaborations, including this interview. In our community guidelines, we state that we don't allow hate speech. But what is the definition of hate speech? Part of how we define hate speech is in these policies. Hate speech includes serious attacks or even negative generalizations of people based on their race and sexual orientation. To use the word attack is ridiculous. I mean, why are you using the word attack? Let's have a look at the word. What is the definition of attack? My personal view is it's one of physical, but I mean, I understand what they're trying to come at, but they're just trying to. Let's have a look. Let's see what the definition of attack. Okay. So let's go through this. Verb. Take aggressive military action against a place or enemy forces with weapons or armed force. Citizen or oppose fiercely and publicly. Okay, he attacked the government's defense policy. Okay. An aggressive and violent act against a person or place. An instance of fierce criticism or opposition. He launched a stinging attack on the Prime Minister. You see, this is just getting more and more complicated for people. And will we lose these kind of people? No. What we want to do is to stop arseholes like conte flexing their power as such. And because at the end of the day, this is how he makes his living. And we've all got to make money somehow. Otherwise, how can we live? We need to make money to buy things and to live and to eat and to clothe. And so this is how he makes his living. And so the problem with people like Conte, if they were to destroy Mr. Benjamin on the internet, they will look to destroy him or stop him from getting employment. Why? Why? So that he just sits on the dole all day doing nothing. So you want to punish him for the rest of his life? This is just ridiculous. This kind of nonsense has got to stop. The intellectual dark web must bring a solution. Jordan Peterson hopefully will have a few solutions in the not too distant future to help combat, this nonsense that's going on with people from the far left. Anyway, I've waffled on long enough. I've read what they said. I understood what they said. Still shouldn't have been deplatformed. It should have been given a warning. At the very least, should have been given a warning. But they don't believe in that. If you're a person who has different opinions to them, you'll be dealt with harshly, and you'll be removed from their platform with force. Anyway, that's my view. Thanks for listening.